Hello and welcome. And yes, that's me riding a camel. That was a childhood dream of mine. And when we visited Egypt 2 or 3 years ago, finally, I was able to realize my dream. Good camel, good ride. Now, this presentation is about ancient Egypt. And I will show you the great pyramids of Giza, the Karnak Temple, the Luxor Temple, and the Valley of the Kings. Let's begin. We will begin with the funerary complex of Djoser. You see the step pyramid. The step pyramid was built by Djoser, the first pharaoh of the third dynasty, who lived about 3,000 years before Christ. So it's about 2700 BC. The step pyramid is the first pyramid and the first large stone architectural structure in history. It was not built all at once, but in stages. The base of the pyramid now has dimensions of 121 meters by 109 meters. The height is 60 meters. The step pyramid is believed to be a giant staircase that King Djoser would climb after his resurrection to join the sun god Ra in heaven. Now we are moving to the famous pyramids of Giza. On the right, you see the pyramid of Cheops or Khufu. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the largest Egyptian pyramid ever built. It is 139 meters high, the bases are 230 meters long, and the angle of the faces is 51.5 degrees. The total volume of stone is, oh my God, 2,583,000 cubic meters, composed of 2.3 million stone blocks, with a total mass of almost 6 million tons. The pyramid was built 4,600 years ago. And here is my beloved wife. And you can see how large, how big are the stones in the beginning of the pyramids. Of course, when you go higher, the stones are becoming smaller. But still, those foundational stones are so enormously huge that it is hard to imagine how those ancient Egyptians, without modern engineering skills and knowledge, could have built such structures. Now we are moving to the city of Luxor, the center of religious and political life of ancient Egypt. The modern city of Luxor was once called Thebes, and it was the capital of Upper Egypt. In the New Kingdom era, Thebes became the capital of all Egypt, and it was known as the city of the living and the city of the dead because the city was divided into two parts. In the central part, you would have the temples. The temples where religious processions were taking place. And in the second part of the city, you will have the so-called Valley of the Kings, or the cemetery, where the pharaohs and his wives and their wives and their children were buried. So here you see the Karnak Temple. It is translated as the most chosen place. The Karnak Temple is the largest temple complex in ancient Egypt and the main state sanctuary of the New Kingdom. This ensemble includes temples dedicated to the Theban triad, the supreme god Amun-Ra, his wife Mut, and his son Khonsu. It is located on the territory of ancient Thebes in modern Karnak, a small village 2.5 kilometers from Luxor. Here is the central colonnade of the Karnak temple, and the columns are also huge, and they served as billboards for ancient Egyptians. So you will go to the temple to read the news about what was going on in the city. After the ancient Egyptian cult of Amun-Ra gradually became a regional and then a state cult, the early Middle Kingdom's pharaohs began constructing the temple complex, which lasted, by the way, more than 1,000 years. So this is the Luxor temple, the sanctuary of Amun, the Luxor temple of ancient Egypt. This temple complex is much smaller in size than the Karnak temple. In ancient Thebes, the Luxor temple was considered secondary to the Karnak temple, although it was located right within the city, while the Karnak temple, or Karnak temples rather, were 2 kilometers away. Between the two complexes was an organized road with an alley of sphinxes, which is almost not preserved. The ancient Egyptians organized a procession of statues of the gods along this alley between the temples in honor of the festival held during the Nile's annual flooding. The temple was founded by Pharaoh Amenhotep III, who lived in the 14th century BC. The approximate dates are 1388 to 1351. After him, other pharaohs completed the temple. But the greatest contribution came from Pharaoh Ramesses II of the 19th dynasty, who ruled from 1279 to 1213 BC. Now, here is an interesting information. This Pharaoh, Ramesses II, was considered to be one of the greatest pharaohs in ancient Egypt of all times. He ruled for many years, and he lived a very long life. He died well in his 90s, I think when he was 93 or 94. He had so many wives and children that he had to build a special university for all of his children to be educated. He oversaw a lot of reforms. He finished the construction of the main temple, the temple dedicated to Amun-Ra, but he was given a bad publicity in the Bible because a contemporary scholarship, biblical scholarship, associates him with the Jewish Exodus. So we have some archaeological artifacts, inscriptions that include the word that may be read as Israel. So for some scholars, that is the first time Israel was mentioned in ancient Egyptian chronicles. And that is the sign that Exodus may have happened during that time. So that's why biblical scholarship dates Exodus back to the year approximately 1213. Now, the last extension of this temple was built during the reign of Alexander the Great. At the temple's entrance, there are two enormous statues representing Pharaoh Ramesses II, and the entrance to the temple is dedicated to him and was built by him. This is already the corridor to the second hall within the temple, and here is the plan of the temple as it was constructed in the times of Ramesses II. On the left, you see the main entrance with the two statues of Ramesses II. Then, after that, you enter into the hall that was built by Ramesses II and dedicated to Ramesses II. This is the Great Court of Ramesses II. It is the largest area inside the temple, measuring 57 by 51 meters. Then, after that, you enter the area that was built earlier by Pharaoh Amenhotep III. You enter this area through the gate of Amenhotep III, a long corridor. You see 6 small windows here, a long corridor with a colonnade named after him. 7 pairs of columns, each around 16 meters high, surround the temple's front entrance, which was once built before the first square of Ramesses II. So after that, you enter the court of Amenhotep III, and after the court, the sanctuaries begin. So the most interesting sanctuary there is the sanctuary dedicated to an Egyptian pharaoh whom everyone knows, but few people know that he was a full-fledged pharaoh. We are talking about Alexander the Great, or Alexander of Macedonia, who conquered Egypt. And after conquering Egypt, he became a pharaoh, a true pharaoh, full-fledged pharaoh. His Egyptian name was Setapenr Meru-Amun Alexander III. Like all pharaohs, he was deified, and his shrine as a god is there in the area where the sanctuaries were built. Now we are moving on to the Valley of Kings and Queens, to the so-called necropolis of Thebes. Not far from the Valley of the Kings is the Valley of the Queens, where the wives and children of the pharaohs were buried. There are only 62 burials in the Valley of the Kings. The Valley of the Queens has many more. So here is what Tutankhamun's tomb looks like in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor. Let me remind you that Tutankhamun was the son or nephew of the previous pharaoh, Akhenaten. He ascended the throne at the age of 10, and regents ruled for him. He died at the age of 19, never becoming a full-fledged ruler. There are many versions of the cause of his death, but we will never know it conclusively. And I would like to finish my brief presentation with this entrance. By the way, the art is so well preserved. The colors seem authentic. The artistic style is so wonderful. So this is the entrance to the tomb of Ramesses II in the Valley of the Kings. That Ramesses who was reigning maybe during the Hebrews' exodus from Egypt. And here I would like to finish my presentation and say goodbye.